जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
जय नित्यानंद
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्ता वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्ता वृंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्ता वृंद
श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 5, the activities of Sakshi Gopal. So, yesterday we were reading that this young, so this is the conversation between the young Brahmana. So, this Brahmana, because you have decided to give your daughter to me, please say that in front of Gopal. And then the old Brahmana, and we saw why he was saying that. That was discussed elaborately yesterday. Why he's asking the old Brahmana to come and speak in front of the deity. Why? Because a Brahmana's word shouldn't become false. And when he says something in front of the deity, then he will try to keep that word, right? It'll be protected. Besides, the young Brahmana, just to protect the old Brahmana from his dharma, Brahminical dharma of telling the truth, he said, my dear, that means his words must become true. They cannot become false. So he said, so the old Brahmana went in front of Gopal saying that, also, one more point here is that if you're actually serious about what you're saying, then you come and say in front of the deity. That's also there, right? Of course, we saw that he was very, very respectful to the old Brahmana. So it's not so much like a challenging thing. It was more like protecting the old Brahmana. That was the mood. So anyway, the old Brahmana said, my dear Gopal, you know, I am giving my daughter to this young Brahmana, like that. Please bear witness that I'm giving my uh, daughter to this young Brahmana. Simply by word, he made that, you know, uh, arrangement. Then the young Brahmana also spoke to Gopal deity and he said, my dear Lord, you are the witness that he is giving his daughter to me. If it happens otherwise, I'm going to call upon you as a witness. like this. Then they started off going back, walking back again to their respective village. They were from Vidyanagar in South India. So they were walking all the way from Vrindavan, Braj, to South India. And then while they walked, once again, this young Brahmana served the old Brahmana with great, uh, he would serve him very diligently, like one serves one's spiritual master, with great respect. And then they reached, finally, they went to their village and they went to their respective homes. Some days passed. And now, meanwhile, this old Brahmana is having this um, anxiety in his heart. Oh, and I have promised to give my daughter to this young Brahmana, but I have not yet revealed this to my family members. I must do it because it will certainly happen, right? This will come to pass. I promised, and I promised in front of the deity. Certainly, it's going to happen. So I must inform my family members, right? It cannot be otherwise, right? She, I must give my daughter to this young Brahmana. So one fine day, he called all his relatives, family members for a meeting, Ishtagoshti type. And then after they all gathered, he narrated the whole history, whole uh, incident, how, you know, when they were traveling, going on pilgrimage, this young Brahmana had helped him so much. And then, out of gratitude, he actually promised to give his daughter to this Brahmana in front of Gopal deity. When the family members heard this, what was their reaction? They were like, what? Don't even utter that word ever again, that you're going to give your daughter, right? They were like, hi, hi, oh, what came upon you, right? They were expressing or exclaiming, how is this possible? Don't even say that again. Huh? Sometimes you may have heard, I have heard sometimes people, you know, if you talk about death, they don't like, especially older people. They don't like to hear about, because we, as devotees, we are always talking about birth and death, isn't it? Birth, old age, disease, and death. And that's also uh, uh, you know, that's also a good reason why people should accept Krishna consciousness. When we preach to new people, often we hear this, right? Birth, old age, disease, and death. You're going to die. You have died so many times. So when you talk about death, some people don't like it. They say, don't talk about death, right? These are not, you should enjoy life. Now you are young, talk about life and enjoyment. Why are you talking about death like that? They don't even like to hear about it. Uh, of course, just because you don't talk about it, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen, right? It's still there. The reality, Srila Prabhupada says, as sure as death, death is there. Uh, but devotees look at death from a different perspective. They don't see death as something horrible. If we are actually living our lives very sincerely in devotional service, then death is not something to be feared. Rather, they go and embrace death, because death means going to Krishna, right? Closer to Krishna, going back home, back to Godhead, if one is a sincere devotee. And even otherwise, if you're a sincere devotee, even if you didn't go back home, back to Godhead, you're closer to Krishna. Now you'll be appointed in some other service elsewhere. Anyway, so, but these, the family members of this older Brahmana, they didn't want to hear the word death. I mean, sorry, not death. Here, their concern was they didn't want to hear about marriage, their daughter's marriage with a poor Brahmana. No, 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 don't even speak about it like that. So, anyway, I hope I didn't divert the topic by talking about that. But anyway, they didn't want to hear. They didn't want to hear about it. What did they do? नीचे कन्या दिले कुला जाइबे का नाश शुनिया सकल लोका कोरिबे उपहास. Why they didn't want to hear about this wedding? नीचे, that means neech jati, right? Lower caste. Kanya dile kula kula jaibe ka nash. So of course, within Brahmanas also you have, like that Brahmana himself said, you're from an aristocratic family. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, aristocratic families, or just in general, marriage and friendship, it is done between equals. Marriages are done between equals. Marriage was a way to expand one's kingdom, one's property. So you have to go with equals, right? Two equals come together and it expands. But if one is high and one is low, then the high will come down, right? It's not really expanding, he's coming down. So that's the idea. So, if we marry our daughter in a lower caste, then what will happen? Everyone will make fun of us. We'll become an object of ridicule and laughter in society, object of criticism. Everyone will say, what happened, right? And they will even start thinking, maybe, right? Maybe there was an affair or something. That's why they were obliged to get her married to a low. So many things can come, isn't it? They can talk like that. So the family members were saying, no, no, what will happen, and what will happen to our prestige in society, right? Niche kanya dile kula jaibe ka nash. Uh, and our family tradition is going to be destroyed. What is our family tradition? Uh, that aristocracy will be finished. See, she's from an aristocratic family, and if she is married into another aristocratic family, then the children that she will produce, they will also be aristocratic. So the family tradition is maintained. The tradition of aristocracy is maintained. But if you marry the girl into a non-aristocratic, a common person, then her children also will become common. So whatever assets this girl is bringing, assets means the name, right, of a high family, that will go to hell. So that was their concern. Nicha kanya dile kula jaibe ka nash, right? Our name and everything will be finished. Our traditions, the family tradition will be destroyed. Suniya sakala loka koribe upahas. And then when people will hear this type of wedding has happened, they will all start making fun of us, laughing at us. We'll become the laughing stock. Okay. They unanimously agreed. Who? All the family members of this uh, older Brahmana, elder Brahmana. They unanimously agreed. If you offer your daughter to a degraded family, your aristocracy will be lost. When people hear of this, they will make jokes. They'll make jokes and laugh at you. विप्र बोले तीर्थ वाक्य के मने करियाना ये हौक से हौक ami dibo kanyadan. Yes, now the older Brahmana is saying, they're saying, no, no, this cannot be. uh, Everyone will make fun. So the older Brahmana is there saying, tirtha vakya kemone koriyana. How can I just ignore what I promised in the holy place, right? I promised in Vrindavan when I was on pilgrimage. When you're on pilgrimage, what is the idea of pilgrimage? You want to remember the Lord all the time when you're on pilgrimage, isn't it? Holy places. So your consciousness is, you know, spiritual conscious. So Tirtha Vakya, so when you're in a holy place, Dham, right? See, you get benefits when you're in Dham, certainly. Little bit of devotional service you do, you get so many times more benefit. But also, when you commit offenses in Dham, punishment is also several times more than in other places. That means you have to honor, right? You cannot just like telling lie. Telling lie somewhere else gives you one reaction, but telling lie in front of the deity, because now it's not just a sin, now it becomes an offense. An offense is more severe than sin. That's the thing, right? Simply telling lie is one thing, that's a sin. But telling lie in front of the deity, telling lie in dham, this is not just sin, this is offense. So what's the difference between sin and offense? Sin means it is done on the platform of the body. That means sin gives you, that is directed towards the body, and the result that is directed. Sin is directed, the activity, the action is directed towards the body. That is sin. Okay? And therefore, the reaction to that is uh, not as severe. Offense is the action which is directed towards the soul. It's on the soul platform. So that means soul means it's on the spirit soul. So the soul includes soul, super soul, Bhagwan, anything related, right? So that is more grave. Offenses are very grave, and naturally the reactions are also very, very grave. Sins can go away easily. Of course, sins are very, we are carrying big, big baggages of sins. But when compared to offenses, sins can be removed very easily. But offenses cannot be removed. Just to give you an example, when one begins Shuddha Bhakti, Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavritam Anukulena Krishnanushīlanam. When one begins Shuddha Bhakti like this, what are the stages? You start with sadhu sangha. So after you get shraddha, then you begin Shuddha Bhakti. So when you start Shuddha Bhakti, you start with sadhu sangha and you start bhajana kriya. And after bhajana kriya, there is anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti, by the time anartha nivritti is finished and you are in nishtha, right? Now, so in bhajana kriya, you are not doing uh, like there are, as I explained some days ago, there is fall downs sometimes. Sometimes there can be fall downs uh, uh, because of previous impressions. There can be sometimes, but once all the anarthas are removed, what does that mean? All anarthas are removed. That means you don't have any more sins in you. So anarthas are different types. Sukritota anartha, dushkritota anartha. So sukritota, dushkritota anarthas means what? Means pious activities, sinful activities, the reactions to them. These are sukritota, dushkritota anarthas. Uh, so actually, yeah, these are actually impressions. Impressions, okay? The impressions of, not that you will still be doing. No, one does not do any karma. After he starts Shuddha Bhakti, he is not doing any karma. No question of doing Sukriti and Dushkriti after you start karma. No, that is stopped. Because Shuddha Bhakti means 24 hours you're doing bhakti, then where is the scope for doing any karma at that point? So don't think like that. Once you start Shuddha Bhakti, there's no question of doing any more karma. So Shuddha Bhakti means Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. It's not interrupted by karma or jnana. So that's out of question. But whatever you may have done in the past and the reactions to that, they have to go away, right? How they'll go away? By your bhajan, by your chanting, they will be going away. And your chanting and your bhajan that you're doing, if you have some fall downs here and there, so they're being removed. But once you come to anartha nivritti stage, they're all removed. That means even the impressions of your past karma are all removed. Okay? Past karma's impressions are all removed. By the time anartha nivritti is done, all offenses, not offenses, sins are removed. What about offenses? Are they also removed by the time anartha nivritti is done? No, they last until they're there even in bhava bhakti stage also they'll stay. And all this while, what are you doing? You're doing your bhajan, and then you're progressing in bhakti, going to higher and higher stages. Nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava, very high stages where you're actually, your spiritual body is also beginning to blossom, or it's just budding stage in bhava. Even in that stage, the impressions of your offenses can remain. What I'm trying to say is, offenses are more difficult to remove. They're very, very, you know, that's why if one has no offenses, how many ever sins he may have done, right? Like Ajay, he murdered people, he cheated them, so many, prostitution, so many things, all types of sinful activities he did. But once that also abhasa, not willingly calling out to Krishna with love, just he just uttered the name Narayana while naming his son, right? He was naming his son, Namakaran, name giving ceremony. He said Narayana, father is supposed to take the name of the son. So he said Narayana, like that. That once uttering the name, cleared all his sins, such severe sins that he did, past, present. It's not that after uttering that name he stopped committing sins. He was still doing his sins. Past, present, and future. Everything was removed. As a result of that once chanting the holy name, at the time of death, when all the Yamadutas came, he was able to call out the name Narayan again. And then by that, then all the Vishnudutas came. So once chanting, no Mataji, no, don't feel hopeless. So for us, then why we are chanting every day and still the holy name is so powerful? That means one thing to understand is no need to be hopeless, but see, when the disease is severe, then the treatment also has to be very diligent, right? You cannot just take it lightly. If the disease is not so severe, then uh, little bit of you have some cold or something or some small thing, it'll go away, right? Some home remedy, something's over. But if it is a serious disease, you have to attend to it very carefully and you should be on top of it so that like when somebody gets coronavirus or something, right, immediately you have to act, otherwise it'll spread and finish the person. So, when we have so many offenses, we have to also be so serious, so careful, so alert, right? Alert about what? About taking shelter of the holy name of the Lord, and also about not committing offenses. Offenses are very, very deadly for bhakti. Sins can be overcome, but not offenses. That's the point. So, and how these offenses can go away. One point that His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, quoting Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, said, uh, earlier this year when he was visiting Mayapur. I heard this. So Maharaj said, quoting Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that if we just take care of this one offense, which offense is that? Inattentive chanting. By attentively chanting, making an endeavor to attentively chant all, so we have 10 offenses, right? The remaining 9 offenses will automatically be controlled. That means you won't commit those offenses. If you simply make an endeavor to chant attentively, right? Attentively, then the other 9 offenses will gradually be, will come, like you'll be able to control them. But if you're not careful about chanting, I think this is the problem with most of us. Somehow we don't understand the potency and the danger, the potency of attentive chanting and the danger of inattentive chanting. We are not convinced enough. So almost on a daily basis, we make this blunder of inattentive chanting. Srila Prabhupada even said at least those 16 rounds, right? At least those 16 rounds you chant attentively. And the rest of the time you're chanting on your lips, no problem. But the 16 rounds that we chant, if we chant attentively, like set a time for that, make it a priority when there is no distractions, no phones, no books or anything, like talking and all that. You just make the 16 rounds you make prioritize that. By that attentive chanting, all the remaining offenses will be controlled. Now look at the other side. The other side is, even if you are not committing the other 9 offenses, but if your chanting becomes inattentive because of, so this inattentive chanting is like the breach, right? It's like the gap which is allowing all other offenses to come through. So what is required is really our sincerity and our, you know, Shraddha means what? Surrender means what? Is it so simple, right? Oh Krishna, I surrender to you. We have to show that, not just once. Once we say that and then go back. No, at every moment we should be in that, at least, if not every moment, every day, right? When we chant our rounds, feeling that uh, urgency, then so if our chanting is attentive, then the other offenses are automatically means by the power of this attentive chanting, by the power of harinam, right? Of the other offenses are controlled. Otherwise, what power we have? Think about it, right? What power do we have? By our power, we are going to, stop this or that? Not possible. All we can do is helplessly take shelter of the holy name. That's all we need to learn. What we need to learn is to depend on the Lord. Depend on the Lord. When there is difficulty, we will depend, right? When there is some crisis, then we don't see. We try, even then we try to do, control things. And when we become helpless, then we raise our hands and say, oh, Krishna. But if we can have that type of consciousness all the time, then we are in good shape in Krishna consciousness. So even for offenses, not that, oh, I'm not committing any offenses. That type of mentality won't work, right? One who is actually a pure devotee, he is at every moment is feeling completely dependent on the Lord, even for not committing offenses, even for chanting also is depending on the Lord, right? I'm not able to chant, my Lord, please help me, like that. At no point does he feel like, yes, I'm doing it and I'm progressing and I am right. That will not be there. So anyway, offenses. Uh,
Mataji, one example when one devotee actually told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, now I'm doing everything. I'm chanting properly. I have become very pure devotee. Then Prabhupada said, "You are in Maya."
he actually said that
Yeah,
I became a pure devotee. Okay.
yeah. So he said that you see, I'm doing everything. I'm doing
Yeah.
chanting and reading, and so I have become perfect. Prabhupada said, "If you think you are perfect, you are in Maya."
Yeah. Yeah.
He had a way to put everyone down in the ground level immediately, instantly with one word. Like one devotee said that the initial devotees that, oh, I'm seeing some light, the Prabhupada said, okay, keep chanting, it will go away.
Yeah. So, yeah. Vipra bole tirtha vake kemane kori ana. So now what is the whole point here? I made this promise in the holy dham. Dham means it's on the spiritual level, right? Simply telling a lie is one thing. Brahmana telling a lie, Brahmana, Brahmana's duties, Kshatriya's duties, Vaishya's duties, these are what? Body, right? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is for the body. So Brahmana telling lies is a sin. But telling a lie when you're on pilgrimage in a holy dham, that's not a sin, that's an offense. It's a very serious thing. In front of the deity, you tell a lie, it's a very serious thing. So the Vipra is telling, the family members are saying, oh, everyone will make fun of our family, they will laugh at us, our tradition, family tradition will be destroyed. What are you thinking? And the this Vipra, the older Brahmana, is saying, but I made a promise in the holy dham. How can I not keep my word? Tirtha vakye kemone kori ana. Ye hauk, se hauk, ami dibo kanyadan. Whatever happens, this may happen, that may happen, I don't care. That means people will laugh at us, our tradition will go to hell, it will be destroyed. I don't care. I am going to give my daughter to this Brahman. So you see, he was actually still uh, determined, right? It's not that he changed his mind after seeing this. The family was saying like this, and he felt, oh, okay. No, he still wanted to. He said, I will give. The elderly Brahmana said, how can I undo the promise I made in a holy place, in a holy place while on pilgrimage? Right? Not that I happen to be traveling by, I'm going to my native place, and on the way, there's a railway station. The train passed through a holy dham, and while I was in the train, maybe I told a lie. I happened to tell, no, no. I specifically went to the holy place. I was going on a pilgrimage, and in front of the deity, I deliberately made a promise. And now, if I don't do it, what will happen? It's an offense. Dham aparad, right? How can I undo the promise I made in a holy place while on pilgrimage? Whatever may happen, I must give my daughter in charity, right? I cannot go back. I will give my daughter. He's telling his family members, ज्ञाति लोक कोहे मोरा তোমাকে ছাড়িব স্ত্রী পুত্র কোহে বিষা খায় খায়া মরিব. This is so now the family members are saying, okay, just know you should Gyati Loka means family members, okay, the relatives. So after hearing this, the people said, Mora Tomake Chhadibo. We have, acha, so all the other relatives are saying, if you do this, we have nothing to do with you anymore. right? All the, uh, like his caste people and other relatives, extended family. They all like, if you do this, then we have nothing to do with you, right? We, our name will also be spoiled that we are related to such and such person, and such a you know uh, shameful thing has happened in that family. We have no connections with you anymore, right? We disown you. Mora tomake chadibo. And then what about his immediate family, his wife and sons? Stri putra kohe vishakhaya maribo. We will just, instead of facing this uh, humiliation, right? Our daughter getting married to a low caste person and all the relatives disowning us, instead of facing such an insulting, humiliating situation, we'd rather take poison and kill ourselves. We are not going to live. If you do this, we are not going to live. Like everyone together, right? All the relatives and immediate family, wife and children, sons, they're saying, no, 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 you cannot do. We'll kill ourselves. We'll leave you like that. The relatives unanimously said, if you give your daughter to that boy, we shall give up all connection with you. Indeed, his wife and sons declared, if such a thing happens, we shall take poison and die. See, so many things happen in family, it's not easy. You want to do something, but you have to deal with so many things. That's why you should do what this Vipra did. Just call out to Krishna. Krishna is always there. Other people may or may not be able to help, but Krishna is always there. विप्र बोले साक्षी बोलाया कोरिबे का न्याय जीती कन्या लबे मोरा व्यर्थ धर्म होय. Vipra bole, who, this elder Brahman, after hearing this, my God, everyone is going to, how am I going to deal with this problem now? My wife, my sons, they're going to take poison and they'll die. All my relatives, they're going to disown me. And then how I'll marry my daughter to anyone else now, right? What is this test? Vipra bole, Sakshi bulaya koribe ka nyay. Sakshi bulaya koribe ka nyay. Jiti kanya lobe mora vyartha dharma hoy. Okay. Sakshi means witness. Okay. So now let's, if I do not give my daughter to the young Brahmana, he will call Sri Gopalji as a witness. Acha, he's telling further. This older Brahmana is saying that I promised in front of Gopal, if I go back, because that's what the young Brahmana said, remember, in front of the deity. My dear Gopal, this old Brahmana is promising, you are witness. If things go otherwise, right? If it doesn't happen, then I'm going to call on you as a witness. So he's a devotee. This older Brahmana is a devotee. The other family members were not devotees. That's the problem always. A devotee has full faith in Krishna. Non-devotees, they think, oh, he's just a stone. They don't have any faith. So this older Brahmana is saying, that's why that was his first thing. He said, I promised in the Dham, how can I go back on my word? And then they were all, threatening that they'll kill themselves. So now he's saying, but this young Brahmana, he will call Gopal as a witness if I don't get, uh, you know, like you'll all be in trouble. It's like you'll be called to court, right? If you're thinking we'll get away with this, let's say, you owe someone some money, okay? You owe someone some money. And if you just go back on your word and you say, no, I don't owe you anything, what will that person do? He can go to court and he may have some proof to show that this person actually owes me this money, and he'll go to court. What will the court do? He will summon, right? Summon this person and say, here, you owe this person money, you have to give. So before going back on your word, you consider all this. What are the problems that are going to come? So this older Brahmana is saying, I have promised to this young Brahmana, and he has a witness. He has a witness who has seen me promise. Who is that? Gopal. Gopal deity is the witness. And this young Brahmana will call Gopal to give witness. The elderly Brahmana said, if I do not give my daughter to the young Brahmana, he will call Sri Gopalji as a witness. Thus, he will take my daughter by force, and in that case, my religious principles will become meaningless. See, I will become a liar also for not giving on my own after promising, and I will be proven false in front of everyone. When Gopal comes and gives his witness, my religious principles will be finished. Uh, I will be a liar, a Brahmana who has lied, and that too who has lied in front of the deity. Right? I didn't keep my promise that I gave him. So my dharma will be finished completely. I'll be finished. And you're thinking, okay, even if my dharma is finished, at least your daughter will be. No, he will take the daughter anyway because he'll bring witness. So he was trying to say, better give the daughter, save our dharma, and also, uh, yeah, give the daughter and save our dharma. Because the daughter is going to go anyway. That was his point. She's the young Brahmana is going to take take our daughter anyway. He has witness. That was the elder Brahmana's point. We will stop here today. We'll continue tomorrow. Actually, here there's every evening, night actually, there is storms going on. So many trees are falling, electric poles, the way it happens usually here in India. So no electricity all night here, and internet also in and out. So let's see. I was thinking maybe I'll have to cancel class today, but Krishna's mercy, it stayed. So if something like that happens, it didn't come yet. The light, electricity didn't come all night. We have the inverter, so the battery, whatever is saved, it's running now. So if something like that happens, I'll just send you a message. But as of now, we will meet again tomorrow. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank